Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I rise to speak on behalf of the 17,296 adults in claimant households in my constituency who are about to be hit with the universal credit cut, nearly 40% of whom are in work. And before the pandemic, the majority of local universal credit claimants were working due to the high levels of low-paid work in Hounslow Borough and environs. Many of my constituents who are unemployed now worked in live events and the arts or at Heathrow Airport, and the downturn in international aviation since COVID has exposed the overdependence of our local economy on Heathrow. And it means that Hounslow has gone from being an area of very low unemployment to one of the highest in the UK. Madam Deputy Speaker, behind every one of the 17,296 local claimants, there is a person, often with children, and for them the proposed cut will have a very real impact on their households already living in poverty. Many have told me that it will mean the difference. One said it will make a lot of difference and helps us to eat in the 21st century in the UK. That is disgraceful. And on the one hand, we've had the weak attempts by ministers to defend this cut, but why don't they also mention the countless acts of wasteful spending we've seen over the last 18 months? A test and trace system that doesn't really trace, and unusable PPE. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, we shouldn't also forget the wider context around this cut. As the government pushed through this £1,000 cut per claimant, they're also increasing taxes on working people through the national insurance hike and forcing councils to increase council tax, and today we hear of the 3.2% rise in inflation. And furthermore, in high-rent areas like in my constituency, the benefit cap and the local housing allowance levels mean that many of my constituents are taking money that should be for their standard allowance, meant for food and utilities, they're using it to pay the rent. And as the Leader of the Opposition highlighted at PMQs today, a full-time worker on minimum wage will need to work for 9 more hours to make up for the £20 cut. So cutting UC on top of all this is not only cruel, but economically incompetent. £15 million will be taken out of our local economy in my constituency. This is money that we know from research, more money in poor people's pockets goes to local businesses and local shops, businesses that themselves employ people and pay tax. It's such a shame, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the Chancellor and his ministers are not here to lead for the government in this debate, not the DWP team, who we hear privately share our concerns about the impact of this cut.